network to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
Ebro, Laura Rosenberg. Our guest today, Khalil Rountree. Big up, salute.
New York City, what up?
Any relation to Richard Rountree?
No relation, but relation to Khalil Rountree, the big one.
Your dad?
The big one, yeah.
Senior Junior, Khalil Rountree Jr.
The big one.
And by the way, you didn't use, Ebro's always using the word friend of the show at certain time. This is real life friend of the show.
I was stuck on the Shaft reference. You know what I'm saying? One thing at a time. Here.
You're always stuck on the Shaft. Whoa. But yeah, real life friend of the show. Laura's connected to Khalil through her dear friend Mia.
That's right.
And I ended up watching Khalil.
So him being here is what you're telling the audience is an inside job, baby.
Yes,
absolutely.
Well, no, we wanted to have him on even before, but now he's the most mage he's ever been. The timing works out great. He's hot out here, coming off the back-to-back big wins.
Wait, what happened? Tell me what happened.
How would you describe, Khalil, the last 6 to 8 months for you? How would you describe it?
Ooh, the last 6 to 8 months has been, man, tough. Great. New family, like Laura, Kenza, shout out baby Kenza. It's been good.
Wow, he knows Kenza too. This is really nepotism. This is great.
It's an inside job for sure, but he's also major. He can back it up, so we're here.
Yeah, it's been a lot of hard focus, man. Like I think this is my first time spending this much amount of time in New York City. So I think one of the things that I've learned a lot is the hustle. Just seeing how everybody works, how everybody's inspired. The city moved me. And so I took it back to Las Vegas to start training because I fight in the UFC. And it's just been a lot of dreams, a lot of hustle, man, to make this reality that I have in my head come true, man.
So let's talk about how you whip that ass.
Well, let's go. It's two in a row because you asked what's been going on.
No, I was going to say, where are you from?
Oh.
So I was born in L.A., but I'm a Vegas guy. I was raised in Vegas. Went to high school, went to every school, everything was in Vegas. So yeah, that's home base for me.
And 2 fights ago, the first fight that I really focused on watching you was that you were coming off a loss, correct?
Yeah.
And your opponent was coming off a loss. And the context that for the audience was Laura, we all got together, me, Natalie, Laura, Mia, et cetera, and Ricardo, we had a place and we all watched the fight. And it was a very intense fight because at this stage, at the beginning of his contract, coming off of a loss, another loss here would not bode well. Like in UFC, you have to string together wins.
I remember when y'all did this, y'all was worried. People were crying. It was a thing.
Watching his girl go through the experience of watching her watch the fight was like an experience in and of itself. He wins that fight in dramatic fashion by breaking a dude's leg in half. He just stomped on his leg and broke it. And then 6 months later, or 6 months, 4 months?
Yeah, just about like 6.
This 2 weeks ago, he had another big fight and got another spectacular knockout. So spectacular that I saw it caught the attention of Conor McGregor, who jumped out just to give you props.
Yeah, that was wild. I mean, I've always had respect for Conor and what he's done for the sport. So to receive that was like,
he called you, I think, innovative. He was like, great to see an innovative finish.
He said something along the lines of like it being better than this boring stuff that all the fighters are getting. So I'm like, dang, he's kind of telling me that like
it was violent. It wasn't just like a submission hold or some sort of TKO. It was
exactly. It was a body kick to like the guy was on the ground and I threw a kick to the body. Which, to be honest, I don't know how many of those there are, like in the UFC lately. So like I might be the only guy right now doing it.
Well, that's
so
your back-to-back finishes that are very uncommon.
Yeah.
And the finish before that where you stepped on the dude's leg, that there was some controversy around that, right?
Yeah, there was a lot of controversy because like people considered it a dirty kick, right? It's a side kick to the knee. And if it's done at the right time, it could pretty much tear the knee in half. A lot of people throw it. John Jones, who's like considered one of the greatest of all time, he throws it all the time, right? But nobody ever threw it as effective as I did. So it was actually the first time that anyone's ever gotten their leg broken in the cage.
But it's completely legal.
Completely legal. It's a martial arts strike.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
Like it has the potential of doing that. Will it do that every time? No. But if you do it with precision and at the right time, it'll happen.
And just so you know, Ebro, people were coming for him, right? Trying to say it was dirty. But even his opponent with the broken leg was like, yo, fam, it's legal what he did. I'll take it.
It's just not accustomed, as you were pointing out, to seeing that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
The assumption is that.
Yeah, and I mean, also too, just like a lot of fighters like talking trash and stuff. And here's the thing, man, it's scary. It's a scary move. If you see on TV somebody getting their leg kicked in to the side, I mean, like nobody wants to see that.
No, it's
and to be honest, it's not necessarily like something that I wanted to do. But like you said, like my life was on the line and my dreams and everything that I'm fighting for was on the line.
Right.
If I would have lost that fight, then I wouldn't be here today. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I would have been like, yo, I need a job from whoever in my phone. You get me? So like, there's just, it's fighting and it's legal. So I'm going to do whatever I have to do in order to make sure that I get the win at times. You know what I mean? Or all the time.
Now, do you feel like where you are and the things that I'm hearing, do you feel like this puts a target on you?
Yeah, I think so.
So you have to be even more careful now because some of the things you're saying.
100%, man. Like, I think when I started receiving the messages after the fight, that's the moment I knew, like, there's a target on my back, for sure. Even seeing, like, you know, tweets from fighters and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, cool. So
How does that make you feel?
it motivated me, to be honest. Like, either way, I'm in this. Either way, I'm in the game. And either, like, I got to fight again. I got to keep going. I got to keep, like I said, just going after what I want. So,
But now you know you can't relax.
yeah, and cool, man. I don't want to relax. I'll relax when it's over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's actually been the best thing that's kind of happened to me because I took that pressure and I took that kind of like, you know, sense of fear in a way. Like, dang, I got this target on my back, and now I take it and apply it to my everyday. When I get up, I hustle. When I get up, I grind, and I motivate the people around me to do the same thing.
Now, you've been on that grind, though, because I heard Rosenberg, I think he used the phrase, when you were fat. And it struck me because I was like, who's Rosenberg fucking talking to? Talking about when you were fat.
Well, I mean, it's part of his story is that he used to be very
I
fat.
didn't know this part, so I just
Oh, you just
heard
thought
it.
I was being disrespectful.
I was like, why you calling man's fat?
Well,
Like,
I
what's
mean,
happening out here?
part of your story, which is pretty amazing, is that you were severely overweight.
Yeah.
Take us through that. If people haven't heard the story, it's a pretty amazing thing.
So, like, in short, and we'll also go back and uncover it because there's a lot that has to do with it. But my whole life, I was a bigger kid. Never played sports. I didn't have dreams of being an athlete, anything like that. And that all ties back to my father, which we'll talk about in a bit too. But when I was 19 years old, I had gotten myself up to 305 pounds. And
I love the accountability there.
naturally,
I got myself up.
yeah, naturally, I'd say like at 19, if I was healthy, I should have been maybe like 185 just because of my frame. You know what I mean? But no, I was 305 pounds, and that was due to just like I smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day.
Damn.
Camel Wides, fat ones, like you know what I mean?
Camel
I just,
Wides, 2
yeah,
packs
the
a
big
day.
ones, you know, and
I
2
know
packs a
Camel Wides
day,
well.
easy. And just like my diet, I only drank alcohol or soda. Like that was it.
No water.
No water. Like literally no water. And food, it was either from the gas station or from like fast food and pizza, but I didn't eat vegetables, nothing like that. So, and that was just like, that was my lifestyle since like late teens, like high school, that all of that stuff started. So by time I was 19, I actually had like a heart scare. Like I was like, man, I feel terrible inside. Felt like my heart was gonna stop
So you
during my
was feeling
sleep.
it. You was
Yeah, I
feeling it,
felt
yeah.
it. And it spooked me. And I was like, something's gotta change. And at the time I was touring with my friends. They play heavy metal because that was like my group of people that I hung out with. And I told them, I'm like, hey, I think this might be my last time going out with you guys. Like I got to do something with my health. And after that tour, my brother's the one who introduced me to MMA. And we saw some UFC stuff on TV, and that was something that I connected to because I saw that these guys had this kind of like anger, which that's something that I carry too. But they had this kind of like this internal like intensity about them, and they were in shape. So I was like, you know what? Maybe this is something that I can go after. That's
And you
going to
knew
help
you were
me.
looking for a bigger calling.
I-
Like
yeah.
You were looking for something.
Yeah, and then like when I was a kid, my father was the manager and tour manager of Boyz II Men, New Edition, and like all of these, you know, like great groups. And he was murdered when I was 2. And I never had him. So like growing up in the house, I'd always have platinum records and gold records from Boyz II Men, New Edition, you know, and he named me after himself. So, and he left me like messages and plaques with like, you know, like how I should approach life and go about life. And so I always had this kind of like spiritual connection to my dad. And I knew at that age, I was like, I'm not living with any purpose. You know what I mean? Like he did all of this stuff with his life, provided my family with, you know, enough to get by, and he's gone. There's like, I have to do something with purpose. And it was just pulling me down. So that was kind of like, I found like maybe there's purpose for me in fighting. So I joined an MMA gym with my brother, and
In Las Vegas?
yeah, in Las Vegas. And from the first time I took a class, the coach was like, I think you have good skill. You should come back. And I'd never gotten any type of
praise
like,
of any
praise or
physical,
anything in my
yeah.
life. I was more like introverted, shy guy. I didn't talk to many people, and that was enough to get me to go another day. And then it was kind of like a step-by-step process every single day of I quit cigarettes cold turkey. And then I was like, I got to eat something different. Like it just uncovers like.
But that's what everybody needs. I mean, hearing your story, and I hope people are inspired by what you're saying. I think everybody needs that little incremental thing, right? Like
Absolutely.
recognizing I need to make a change. Most people get stuck in the fear of the work, right? But that one step, doing that one thing, that then goes, okay, that wasn't so bad. I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, I'm doing it again, and then it starts to add up to better things and healthier things. That first step, though, like you had your brother.
Yeah.
Like that's a big deal that you had somebody who you love that was like,
Yeah, we
"Yo,
need to
check
do
this
better.
out."
Yeah, we're gonna do this together.
Yeah.
Like I think when it comes to just any type of big goals in life, it doesn't have to necessarily be like fitness, right? But if you want to go after something big, of course, having someone with you that's kind of starting from the same point is gonna be, like amazing.
Yeah.
Ricardo and I, right? He's like, I'm gonna take on this diet with you, and
Yeah.
day by day.
I think it's also really important because you shared this with me before. After your dad was murdered, your mom was there to keep all the pieces together, and we've talked about growing up poor, right? Like mom is barely, trying to pay rent, keep a roof over their heads, and like that's what also leads you to these very poor choices when it comes to your diet. You feel like this is all you have. But I talk about how you decided to, not only when you made the change to eat healthier, but how you changed your mind frame. And, 'cause some people think like it's too expensive to eat healthy. We hear that all the time. But talk about how you decided to make it make sense for you.
So there was a moment where I started to, I don't remember if I heard something on TV or if I heard it in a conversation, but there's a moment where I started to change my idea of food. And I stopped looking at it as like pleasure. I was like, let me get some fuel. What's going to be the best fuel for my body, right? So like even just the intake, I'm like, everything that goes in is like filling up a gas tank. So I'm like, I started looking at ingredients. If I couldn't pronounce the ingredients on the back of something, I'm like, I'm not eating it. You know what I mean? And so I didn't necessarily have like a coach or a diet plan or, this stuff that everybody's looking for. It was just like desire and determination to be better. So like, I think it's common sense when we go to the grocery store, what to get and what not to get, or what's healthy and what's unhealthy. You know what I mean?
It's whether or not you want to make the sacrifice and the commitment to do it.
Exactly. And sometimes we can find ourselves justifying like, but it says organic. I'm gonna, it's like, that it's not good. It's not healthy. Why are you gonna sell yourself short if you like really are committed to what you desire?
That's the piece.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's
That's
about
the piece,
commitment.
though.
It's about vision. It's about desire, and like finding the best way to tie all those things together.
But people lie to themselves.
Yeah, man.
Like you see where you said, if you are truly committed.
Yeah.
Because people will say they're committed to something. But are you though?
Right, truly
Because
committed
you're
is a-
doing things that your behavior is saying that you're not truly committed, even though your mouth is saying you are. But in this, you can apply this to anything: relationships, fitness, whatever. You say you're committed to this person, but why you keep doing all this stuff that could ruin your relationship?
Exactly.
You sounds like you use the idea of food being fuel as almost the trick for yourself. Though, like it was almost a way to, if I
Yeah.
think of food as fuel,
Yeah.
and not as something to satisfy a hunger for a
Exactly.
taste
Or an emotion.
or an emotion, that it'll be easier for you to do this.
Yeah.
'Cause it's hard.
So I would look up, I would like Google what has the most protein, and then I would like write down a list, and I'm like, okay, what has the most fiber, and just things that I thought, okay, this is what people say is the essentials that the body needs, what has like the highest amount of all of this stuff. And then I just go and buy that from the grocery store. And then so my meals for like 5 to 6 months were like broccoli. Like I'd make as much broccoli as I can because I was a big guy, right? I still wanted to be full. But I'd eat a whole bowl of steamed broccoli. I'd know that it's, you know, better for me. And I still get that feeling of like I'm full. So I cured that, like, you know, I'm still sitting on the couch like, oh, that felt good.
But here's what people are saying right now. But it was boring.
Okay, but it's like, but that boring part, that's like, what's your vision? What are you committed to?
It also
You know,
goes back to
like,
the
that's
fuel
that.
concept he's pointing out, which is you had already relinquished, you had sacrificed the joy and the emotional attachment to something for the sake of your goal, which was, I want to be great. I found something I love. I want to be committed. I have a desire for this thing I love. So I'm going to do what it takes to make sure that I can go towards what I love. And that is removing my emotional attachment to food and leaning into fueling my body the right way.
100%. And
people can't make that. That jump, yo, my food is not fun every day is a fucking thing for people.
It's hard.
I want to say something too, because like a lot of the times people will ask me, or they'll say like, yeah, man, like I want to get in shape. I want to start working out and all these things. And you know, I get it a lot, right? But it's like, I feel like people they're looking for this like kind of like secret sauce, or like this like, you know, 10-day, you know, in 10 days I'm going to be in shape. It's like, no, when you see those people that have a body that you may want, or that just look healthier and they feel better about their lives, like when you see that, that's because it's a lifestyle that they chose, and that like that's why they are the way that they are, you know? So it's like it's really hard to stay within the same lifestyle. You don't have to change completely, but you just add something into your lifestyle, which is just like better choices. Or in
another way looking at it, get rid of things.
Yeah. Like for instance, man, this morning I woke up and I knew that I was going to be here. And there was like that small voice that's just like, yeah, just get some rest. You know, you might have a lot of energy because you'll be talking, da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to chill. I'm going to rest, right? So I'm sitting at my computer just wasting time in a way, because I woke up early. I had my coffee. I was wasting time. And then it snapped back into me. I was like, nah, man, if you got 15 minutes to be on the computer, you got 15 minutes to just go get a run in real quick. At least just go get a 15-minute run. If that's the least that you do, use your time doing something that's going to make you better, that you're going to feel good about when you're done. And then that like can hopefully inspire you to maybe go longer when you have some more free time. But I just traded or just inserted 15 minutes and my day has not changed at all. But I can walk around today knowing
you ran.
I ran, you know what I mean? I ran half a
Right.
mile in 3 minutes, and and as fast as I could, and I feel alive. I feel, you know?
Accountability, sacrifice, those two things, man. Like the things you're saying, like even when you were like, I got myself up to 300 and something pounds, right? A lot of people are listening to this right now, and you didn't say because I lost my father and I didn't have direction, and
right, we could
you know
all
what I'm
look into it
saying?
and see
And
that.
I was secretly depressed, and I didn't know I was depressed, and money was funny, and all of this shit going around, which can create an atmosphere of making bad decisions because you're emotional and you're looking for fulfillment in the wrong things. Instead, you just said, I got myself up to 305 pounds. I didn't feel good. My brother said, hey, yo, you seen this MMA shit? We said, fuck it, let's go to a class.
Yeah.
And that puts you on a path to a bunch of other discovery. But that was accountability mixed with sacrifice.
Yeah, it's hard. Where do you think you get that from? Like, do you know of your dad's story? Was he a very disciplined guy?
You know, I hear stories about my dad, and I'd say that he was a disciplined guy, but it wasn't necessarily in you know, an exercise and physical type of way. But my dad was disciplined in a way. He was like, do your job every day and work and stay committed.
Well, how did he end up being the road manager for all these iconic groups?
So as much as I can remember is, so my dad's from Jersey, and he spent some time doing, man, there's so many things that I've heard. He had like a deputy thing from Texas. It was wild, but he was like a man of the people, right? So he, I know that he started off doing security, and my mom tells me that he also, in that time, he was doing a little bit of work like with Muhammad Ali. And I was like, well, that's cool too, right? So I don't know exactly how he entered into the music industry. And if there's anybody who knew my father, Khalil Rountree, feel free to reach out to me and give me the story. Yeah, if you were around. So all I know is that when he had his job as the road manager, let's say for Boyz II Men and New Edition, he was like their father in a way.
I can hit Michael Bivins. I just need to hit
Michael Bivins. I went to it, like, he was my uncle. Yeah, Uncle Mike. Like, when I was a baby, like, he took me in.
Y'all still in touch now?
No, that's
Yo,
the weird.
Biv, what up, baby?
Biv, like, you know where I'm at, man. You search my name.
But he might not even be. It may not have clicked.
Yeah, maybe he
It may not
hasn't
have
put two and
clicked.
two together.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, even like a couple of the guys from Boyz II Men, like, you know, they Wanye, he's like the only one that kind of gives me a little bit of acknowledgement. But when I was a baby, that was going on tour with these guys. But anyway, like my dad and the discipline that you ask, like, he kind of raised those guys. My mom went to, like, they slept on our couch. You know, my dad went everywhere with them and was a father to them. Even on Boyz II Men's self-titled album, there's a Khalil interlude after my father. You know,
It was
like,
after he passed?
Yeah, after he passed. And that's the same sample that like Drake had used, like No One to Cry On, I'm All Alone, on the March 5th song. And that was about my dad. And like One Sweet Day from Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men, like that was right after my dad passed, like that type of stuff. So the impact that he left on people was more of like a mentor, a leader, guidance, you know, like helping people.
Bro, that's
helping
heavy,
people really become something, you know?
But that's a not to go away too far from that, but like, man, One Sweet Day affects everybody emotionally. For you, it's actually somewhat about your father.
I know.
That is,
dude, it crushes
brutal.
me. Like there are times that like that song can come on, and if it's at the right moment, I'm crushed.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm crushed, and it's
And
it's
you hear it in
crazy.
the mall. You hear it like it's a gigantic song.
Yeah. So my entire childhood was like there was that hole that could never be filled. You know what I mean? And there were reminders all the time. Mr. Telephone Man. My dad is the guy, the telephone man in the video.
Really?
Yeah.
Wild,
You know what I mean?
right? It's so wild.
Anytime
Yo, fam, I've been watching that video my whole life.
Yeah,
I
that's
still
awesome.
listened to that song the other day.
Yeah, that's Pops, right? So like, you know,
So wait, he's the guy fixing the phone?
the big dude fixing the phone with the hard hat, you know, with the beard, that's Pops.
That's so crazy. It's so
That's
crazy.
amazing.
Wait,
Yeah.
Khalil, I want you to, and if it's okay for you to share the
There's
story.
something wrong with my line. I dialed my baby's number.
Right.
So as Khalil has been vocal about who his father was, he's been getting some messages of people who have reached out with like, hey, I knew your pops. But remember the messages you got about the guy who talked about his first kiss?
Oh my goodness, yes. So I got a random message from some guy, and he's like, hey man, you don't know me, but I want to let you know a story about your dad. And he's like, when I was just a kid, I might have been, you know, between 5 to 8 years old, I had a really big crush on this pop star that was like really hot at the time. And he's like, I remember going to one of the concerts, and your dad took me backstage to meet her. And he knew how much of a crush I had on her. I was so shy, and he took me to meet her, and she gave me my first kiss. And he's like, "That's a moment that I'll never forget."
That's incredible.
So I was like,
We don't know who the pop star is?
I
We
forgot
can't
the
say.
name. I forgot.
She was a one-hit wonder. I forgot.
Debbie Gibson?
Yeah, I forgot the name.
Forgot the name too. I was trying to think. Like, she was a one-hit
Tiffany?
wonder.
But
Yeah.
Was it Tiffany?
I think it was Tiffany.
I think it was Tiffany.
We're alone now?
I think it was.
It doesn't
Tiffany.
seem to be anyone around?
I remember it being like a one name.
I think
you
we're
know, like,
alone
I think it was
now.
Tiffany.
I think it was
Doesn't
Tiffany.
seem
Because I
to
remember when
be
you got the message, I Googled it. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we tumbled to the ground.
Okay. So then what happened? So
No, so I mean, so with like I was saying, with reminders my whole life of like who my dad was,
Right.
and what he did for people, and then like hearing songs that just kind of left this hole, because all of my friends or the ones that did have like their fathers and stuff, it was just such a good connection, and I'm like, damn, like, so there was just, that's a big reason too why I was like shy and sheltered at an early age, is like because of what I was seeing. My mom had to kind of break the news to me early, like, your dad is dead, this is what happened, da 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 da, and it just kind of made my self-worth kind of shrink in a way, because as a kid and you're developing this comparison with other people and how the world operates, for me it was like, damn, like I don't have that and I don't matter, and like I'm gonna get murdered too when I get older, and so
is that something you used to fear a lot?
Yeah, man. I mean, still to this day, like, so the way that my dad was on tour with Boyz II Men and MC Hammer in '92, and he was in his hotel room, and some guys figured that like they were gonna like rob him, stick him up while he's in his sleep. So they they get into a fight because my dad opens the door, realizes it's two guys that they don't know, that he doesn't know, and this fight breaks out in the hotel, and my dad gets shot dead. And so like he wasn't doing anything, he was sleeping, you know what I mean? But like he was a good looking dude, dressed nice, you know what I mean? You could tell he was successful.
He was the manager of whatever.
You get what I'm saying? So they set him up. They're like, we're gonna rob this guy, and they robbed him of his life. And so like learning that, like I said, at a young age, it's kind of like when I'm starting to figure out what is life and what's my life gonna look like and what's my future gonna look like, and not having any black superheroes to look up to, people that look like me. And I knew I didn't want to be an athlete, and I knew, everything that, like, I just knew that I didn't want to be everything that, people like me did. I didn't want to play sports. I didn't know if I wanted to act. I was lost, man. I was just like, dang, what do I do? Who do I want to be?
And
so
you
I
grew
chose
up in
my
like a
dad.
mostly white neighborhood, right?
Yeah, so
Were you one of the few black children that were
very
in the
few.
neighborhood?
Yeah. So
And he has a little Puerto Rican mother.
yeah, so my mom's Puerto Rican, and she moved us to Vegas to take care of my great grandmother. And after her passing, my mom chose like, okay, we're just gonna stay here. And she's like, I want to make sure that you guys are in the best neighborhood possible. So we were just, kind of like the three black kids from LA at the time, when we got there. And so both of my brothers already had like sports. They played baseball, football. But I was a bit more like, kind of like sheltered, I was just like I said,
Introverted.
quiet, introverted.
Yeah.
I like music. I saw my dad's name on records. I wanted to do music, like I said, that's who I was looking towards.
How much of your mom, also, obviously your dad, you guys share a name, and he's, meaningful in many ways in your life, but also I think too, I'm sure some of your focus and commitment to self, right? Commitment to making sure things are done a certain way comes from mom too, of being committed to her boys, being committed to great grandma. You just talked about that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That I'm sure mom has some of your,
1000%. My mom is she's like the superhero of the family,
Right.
of not just my immediate family, but of her family.
but
too.
that drive that you have. You know
Yeah,
what I
I
mean?
mean-
That like, I'm gonna get up tomorrow no matter what the circumstances. Mom was
That's what
digging
my
in.
mom raised us all singly. After my pops passed, she was like, all I have time for is my kids. And she
Right.
dedicated her life to us, whether it was working 2-3 jobs nonstop to make sure that we had, even just a little bit to eat. Mom's worked her ass off and never, ever, ever like took it out on us or anything. It was just like, that was her commitment. And it still is to this day. Even though like we're like, I take care of my mother, but she still can't help the fact that she's like, no, she's like trying
No, but
to.
that's work ethic. That's
Yeah.
where you got it
Exactly.
from. That
So,
that not being afraid to work.
Yeah.
Obviously, dad, physical, all of the
course.
things, seeing the plaques on the wall and the stories and all that. But that's seeing somebody get up every single day and get to it, no matter the circumstances.
Cost. No matter the cost. And
You know what I'm
like,
saying?
if the electricity goes out, it's candles. You know what I mean? If like we didn't got food, it's rice and beans. Like it's like no
Moms.
matter what, she made whatever happen. She made it happen. So yeah, I think all of it, most of it,
Yeah.
definitely goes to my mom.
And then you started did metal speak to you? Did some of like the aggression and sort of anger that we can typically associate with metal, is that what spoke to you?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think what really changed the game for me is when I was like maybe 7 or 8 is when I first heard Limp Bizkit. And I saw Fred Durst and he had the red New York hat on and like they, you know what I mean? Like they looked cool and they had this mashup of like hip hop and you know, this like
Red Meth was
alternative,
with him
like,
too, and you was like, "Yo, he hanging with the black dudes. I'm in here."
You know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, there's this mix up, there's this mashup,"
Yeah.
and then that's kind of what just blew my mind to. And then like shortly after that, Linkin Park came out, and this is all when I was just like, you know, like before 12 years old. So these are like groups that were kind of starting to show me this difference in how to mix both, and so. Then I just kind of like started to dissect them both separately, and I found an equal love and passion for metal as I did for hip hop.
Wow.
Yeah.
And who in each genre, which artists speak to you the most?
Who currently?
All time
Yeah,
for you.
well, all-time
just like
favorites,
like when you
whatever.
want to zone out, who are you listening to?
I'd say like in a metal realm, if I want to zone out, I listen to a group called Crowbar.
Okay.
And in a hip hop, if I want to zone out, damn, lately it's been so mixed, man. I'd say like probably Navy Blue.
Navy Blue,
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah, I feel like I rock Navy Blue more than I do a lot of things when I'm just like, I need to put something on. I don't know what I want to put on.
So
and
you're
I
into
just,
pretty underground hip hop.
Yeah, I like underground hip hop.
Yeah.
I think when I was in high school, and I started to learn about underground hip hop and graffiti and all of that, it really sucked me in, because like especially just like the rebellion and the graffiti, and I just saw the ties to like, you know, the message of anarchy that I was listening to in the punk rock. So I was like, here's where the line, you know, here's where they connect.
Yep.
And so I started to like see like graffiti, and there was like, you know, these political activist graffiti groups and stuff. And I was like, this is dope. What do they listen to? And then at the time for me in my era, it was like Immortal Technique, The Weathermen,
Immortal
Rod the Rugged
Technique,
Man,
what up, baby?
Yak Balls. You guys know Yak Balls? Yeah.
I
Like,
remember Yak Balls,
like
yeah.
Cage and
Yeah.
Cage Kennels, all these like underground rappers where I'm like, these guys are sick. And their lyrics are just brutal, Jedi mind tricks. And I was like, yeah, I like underground hip hop.
People gonna love this. They gonna love this interview right here. Bro. You got some fans, and I think a beautiful thing about who you are as a human being is I think there's something in you that, you know, help people overcome their challenges too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, you know, look, we watch MMA fighters, you know, humble beginnings, and then it becomes so much about the show, and people start picking sides, and you got a good guy and a bad guy, or, you know, there's guys out here now in MMA, they, you know, they're like, you know, political in some regard, aligned with Trump, and then you got, you know what I mean, all these different things to kind captivate and entertain and pull emotions from the audience.
Yeah.
And I think you have a great opportunity to be someone who represents the people who are still trying to figure it out in life and are looking for a calling, right? Because that's a segment of our population where it's just people trying to get through to the next day. They don't have all the tools. They don't know exactly what their calling is. They want to be healthier. They want to figure it out. And that's your story, right?
Yeah.
Like, your story is that of the guy, of the individual who's just like, I don't know where I fit in.
Yeah.
Well, and
You
so
know what I
and so
mean?
in that vein, take us through after the last victory a couple weeks ago, which was amazing. You then got on the mic afterwards during your interview, and you really revealed a lot about how hard things were. You gave a little version of your biography. How has the reaction been? And then you did it again at the presser as well.
Yeah.
How has the reaction been to you really starting to tell your story? Are you getting more interest from UFC, from media, et cetera?
So let me answer that, but really quick, because something came up when you were just speaking. And I think that a lot of what I've gathered from growing up in America is there's this huge message of like, pick a side. Whether it's the Super Bowl, whether it's politics, whether it's basketball, whatever, it's like, pick a side. What side are you on? And for me, I feel like I've always been conflicted with choosing a side. Even if relationships or arguments, that's why I'm not really an argumentative person. I just keep to myself. because it's hard for me to pick a side. And what I've learned is that like my life is in the middle. I see both and I feel both. I empathize with both sides a lot of the times. From sports to whatever, like connect, that team's sick, so are they. I kind of don't care who wins. I just want to see a good game. Like that's genuine to me of how I perceive life. And so like if that could help someone else, is like, don't feel the need to pick a side. You know, like your life, if you don't feel you want to, then your life is in the middle, and focus on the straight. Don't look left and right, just look straight, you know? And like there's so much in just looking straight and kind of, you know, gathering bits from both sides. You know what I mean?
It's important.
And so yeah, with kind of what ties into that too is, yeah, after my post-fight speech, that day, man, I took a nap because I had so much energy on fight day, and that was different for me. But it's because of the work.
You took a nap before the fight?
Yeah, like in the morning.
Okay.
So usually in my past fights, I would have been so tired and like anxious and sweat in my bed, you know, just like because it's the day of the fight, and I'm just like, this is the day, so much nerves. But this time I had energy, man. I woke up, I ran 2 miles. I lifted a little bit of like weights and medicine balls because I just felt like I'm good, I'm ready to go. So when I sat down to rest because I didn't want to, you know, spend all my energy, and a thought came into my head and it started giving me anxiety. And the thought was like, why do I do this? I go through this every time. Why do I do this? Like I'm nervous. What if this guy knocks me out? Da, 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 da. Why do I do this? And so I just kept hearing that. And instead of like doubting myself and trying to listen to that voice of doubt, I started listening and trying to look for what's the real reason? Why? And that day I started to think the why. I started thinking my mom. I started to see myself in the mirror as a 300-pound 19 kid that was just like, had no passion for life, and I didn't care if I woke up the next day or not. You know what I mean? And just finding any type of outlet to, you know, to cover up my pain and all this stuff and just kind of blink out and not exist, you know? Like I didn't care if it was sleeping medicine or whatever. It's like, just get me out of this world. I don't want to be here. To like, I started seeing that in my brother and just so many different things and other people who feel like I feel. And so I was like, this is why, because I need to change this stuff. I need to make a difference in all of these things. And I need to continue to fight this fight, because that stuff is never going to go away. It's going to live internally with me forever. Those thoughts, those memories, and I got to keep fighting against them. It's not over
The
yet.
demons.
You know what I mean? I'm like, every day I have to keep fighting against them.
And do you feel like when you win a fight and you survive that and move, do you feel some level of like, you've taken a step further. You've expelled some of it.
Win or lose, I definitely feel this sense of growth, right? And so with after the fight and the responses and stuff, that's why I said what I said, right? I started thinking about that, and that was my focus and that was my motivation. And I knew that once I had gotten these answers of the why, when I was in the locker room, this is the best I've ever felt in the back. I just knew nothing is going to stop me. Nothing. I don't care what it is. All of this stuff, this fuel, nothing is going to stop me. And so like that was kind of why I brought that energy into the cage. And even, I don't know if you guys know the group Salt, but they have a song called Sunshine, and that's like a family jam for us. And like Baby Kenza dances to it, and just even the words is like, let the sun shine on me. And I'm like, you know what, God, like let it shine on me, because you know what's inside, you know what I've been through, and if it takes for me to just share who I am, and it's gonna help shine your light to the world to maybe help some other people or whatever, then just, dude, let's do it, let's go. And I was like, you know what I mean? Like for some reason I felt this sense of like power, like yeah, like I'm gonna make a difference, you know, like I'm gonna do something good with my life, and it like that was it, man. Like. So after, people have been reaching out, and it's been a bit like overwhelming in a way, because I'm just like, I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready for that amount of people to be like, hey man, you changed my life and you affected me in any way. And I just didn't know what to expect.
Yeah. And
so like now it's like, it's still that fight, right? I'm still fighting. And now it's just like, now there's people behind me like, where we go?
Right.
You know, like, where are we going? And I'm like, all right, like,
It's crazy. You've done
I don't know
I think
where we're gonna go. You know what I mean? Like,
I think one thing that's very important and is the fact that you are not scared to show your emotions. And, you know, when you look at Khalil, you see this strong dude that's tough or whatever. And, you know, the stereotypical, like, way people see fighters, whatever they're not. Khalil is not afraid to cry and be honest about who he is. And to me, that was the first time I've ever saw in the UFC, someone break down. Mind you, I don't follow it. I only follow it only because Khalil, you know what I mean? But it was a very, very, very important moment for so many people. And of course, you're always going to have the assholes who are going to be like, fuck that, you know, you're being a punk or whatever. But I saw so many people being so proud of you and so happy that you are not scared to show who you are.
you know what? Like, and I'll ask you guys, or just I'm speaking to the guys. It's like, and even you, Laura, like, do you know how it feels to like really not have a place or be able to really like express emotion and then have to see it channel to other things that you know are not good, but you just don't know what else to do with it because you're afraid or you're just like, I can't show that. You know, like it really sucks to bottle things in and to just kind of not know what to do with them. And emotions are emotions, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm talking about something that comes up and it makes me shed a tear, then at least I just got it out. Like, I don't care who sees. Like, I have a lot of feelings. I have a lot of, like, I'm a sensitive guy, but, like, I'll fuck you up. I mean, I'll mess you up, too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and that's
I think
also...
that's the piece where people get afraid, right?
That's
because
also
not
emotion.
everybody can break somebody's face and break their leg and protect themselves, right? And so as a guy, as a man, when dudes are like, yo, you're fucking soft, nobody's gonna tell you. Like, there's not a person on earth that could be like, yo, you're fucking soft.
But
To you.
I grew up my whole life with that message.
Right, but you felt that, right? And so, but now you know you're not.
Yeah.
There's people who don't know that because they haven't taken the step towards accomplishing something, even though they probably have if they stopped and thought about it. Like, they're still living. They're getting up every day. And they're, you know what I mean? Like, you are still alive and you're still fighting for your life. That in itself makes you better than people who didn't and weren't able to, right? And you know what I'm saying? So there are people who are still trying to discover how to have that self-assurance that you have now. You didn't have it. Now you have it because you fought for it.
But also an important piece, I think, is that you can represent for people is that, like, sometimes you need someone else. You don't have it yourself, so you got to copy from someone else. Yeah. Like, I remember literally, I mean, this is so embarrassing and cheesy, but, like, I remember in my early 20s when I was getting back into wrestling and I would be, like, trying to hype myself up for something. I literally would think about Triple H's entrance with the water and him spitting the water up and being like, here I go! And I was like, I would dig into that to make me feel like, I mean, that's a show, right? But you need it to trick yourself. It must be a really great feeling to now see that maybe you're that sort of that inspiration for people to make them believe in themselves.
I hope so. I mean, like, that's...
But now you don't want to let them down either.
Yeah, I don't want to let
Now
them
you gotta
down.
have that
And also, it's okay to let them know that I still, like you brought up your demons, I'm still every day having to recalibrate, regroup, ask myself questions. You know what I mean? Like, it's a constant work in progress, and that's okay also. People don't even know that that's okay.
Absolutely.
People think that they're supposed to reach a destination and, like, it's all good.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's told them that the destination, like, life is, you're constantly learning.
Also,
you're constantly working.
Yeah, people see us where we're at and may, like, you know, they see it like, oh, he's this, he's that, like he's different now, or, you know, like, things are different, but, like, we're still the same people, right? And we still carry the same scars and past and memories and everything. So yeah, it's a constant growth. It's a constant breaking through layers and a constant, you know, like, just getting better. Yeah, 100%.
So what is next for you? Let's talk about the business of it now too, because yes, you've reached all this amazing personal stuff, but now you also have the biggest professional opportunities of your life in front of you.
So check this out. Early this year, I got offered to be in a movie, right?
Nice.
And I auditioned for it and I got the role. So I'm in a movie that's going to release mid-April called Lord of the Streets. The two lead characters are me and Tretch from Naughty by Nature.
Yeah.
So like that was sick to be able to be with like a hip hop legend and actually like have this acting chemistry together and be the leads of the film.
Wow.
So that one also includes Anderson Silva, Rampage Jackson, Chet Congo, a lot of MMA legends. So like I think that another thing next for me is like, I like acting because that's a space too where like I can apply the emotion and it not have to be in, you know, it can be through telling a story or like reading a script versus like having to dig from my own, you know what I mean? Like emotional stuff.
And you can still try to become that superhero that you were looking for when you were a kid.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? Which is, I mean, that's something that I've been working on too the past 2 years is writing, like I started writing a graphic novel about a black superhero. And so there's just like things, other outlets, you know, just there's a lot of interests that I have. And now that I'm fighting and saving money and all this stuff, my dream is to just be able to like fund it and start to work on projects so I know what I'm going to do after fighting, or just, you know, I can have more of a free life and connect with more people and do things that I like to do that involve music. And
is there a fight that should be next for you? Is there someone that you want in particular it is the last fight of your current contract?
So as far as people go, it's hard to say because like I'm not in the rankings yet. So like it could be anyone from 15 to 10, because I definitely think that I deserve to fight in top 15, at least on my
Have
next
you ever
fight.
been top 15?
I think at one point, yeah.
Okay, so but don't you think it's close to you being due to being in those rankings? It feels like it at least.
How many losses you got?
Right now I have 4 or 5. 4.
And how many total fights?
15.
So call it 15-5.
Yeah.
Are any of the losses have you had rematches with any of those losses?
No rematches at all. Which also too, like I'm not hurting for any rematches. Like there's no one that I'm like, let's run that back. But if we see each other again, like I already know, like I'm gonna take this one, you know? So like the way that the rankings work is if I get let's say offered a top, say like number 7, then if I fight him and win, then I take that spot. So there's a potential that I could have to rematch somebody else if they want to go for that spot.
Right.
Well, I was just asking for context of maybe how they're judging your ranking, meaning like if you've split 1-1 and lost 1 with someone else or anything like that.
It's really hard to know how they control the rankings. I still don't understand it, and I've been fighting for 10, 12 years now. I don't understand how the rankings work. But
that's probably on purpose, but I'm not gonna shit on. I'm not gonna shit on UFC. You get money with them.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you happy with your deal? Or does your next deal need to be better? Assuming you win your last fight.
Yeah, I think the next deal should definitely be better, and I think it will be. The UFC have been honestly really good to me, and they've never given me any problems. But I also have never like asked for a ridiculous amount of money. But it's also because like I said, I kind of have an understanding of how things work, and I just try to make sure that I get the best of like what I'm worth for now. Could I ask for $1 million like in a dream world? Yeah, that'd be nice to get $1 million per fight, but like it's just not realistic. So like I strive for that though, and that's why I think
you're exhibiting qualities that are great for the UFC as far as what they are, how they're going to use their fighters who are brand extensions to go out and galvanize and connect with the consumer that watches fights.
That's what I would think.
You have a lot of great qualities that I think, and your style of fighting, based on what we know of your knockouts and what you're doing, are exciting. So you have this personality and this story that's amazing. You're exciting in the ring. Now you just got to keep winning.
Yeah. 100%.
Right, and because clearly losing is not the answer to get more.
Yeah,
that's not the answer. So it's pretty simple.
Did you get
win
bonus?
and keep being the person that you are in the ring and out of the ring,
and you'll be golden.
Yeah.
Did you catch the bonus last time?
I did. Man.
I was about to say because I didn't see the end of the show, but I figured you got the knockout of the night.
Yeah, I did, and it felt so good.
How much is that bonus?
$50K.
Yeah, that's nice to grab an extra $50K for that.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. They have 2 bonuses every night. It's fight of the night and best finish? Is that
so they have what they call like performance bonuses. So it's knockout of the night, they could do submission of the night, and they could do fight of the night. But that night it looked like everybody just got performance of like whoever got money got performance of the night.
Got
So there's 4 bonuses. Yeah.
Boom. Well, congrats.
And so as a fighter, you get the bonus.
Yeah.
You get paid to fight as a part of your contract.
Yeah,
and then a potential bonus.
Yeah, so you get your show money. So that's just like the money you get just for showing up, and then you get your win bonus, which is like it doubles your show money doubles, and then you get if you get a bonus, then you get that extra $50K on top.
And how many times are you obligated to fight a year? Is that a part of the deal?
I don't know if it's obligated. It could be. My manager probably kill me for this, but yeah, I think it's like at least 2.
Got it.
Unless you're injured or something like that.
Got it. And so when's your next fight now?
We haven't had talks about it yet. But if it were up to me, I would say like July, August would be nice because just I want to still be able to build a couple of, personal things and personal endeavors and stuff, and then have to go back. Because when I go back into training camp, it's shut down.
For 8 weeks?
Yeah, 10 to 8 weeks. It's complete shutdown. I don't hang out with anybody. I just stay at my house and I go to the gym. And you know what I mean? It's literally eat, sleep, train 100%. So I'd like to be able to get a couple things moving before I go back into
Before
lockdown.
you disappear. Yeah. That makes sense.
What is, for the audience, you are a disciplined, successful individual. And then under the guise of still fighting those demons, when do you let the fat boy come out? What are you going to eat?
When
When it's
do you give
time
yourself
to go
the cheat?
full fat boy status, what we doing out here?
We going straight to Haji's. Chopped cheese. No lettuce. No nothing. Just give me cheese, ketchup on the toasted what is it? Recorded sesame seed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 2 of them.
Oh my
2
god.
of them. Double. Yeah, no, honestly.
That's your thing though?
Then we're going straight to Cat's Deli.
Wait, the same night?
The big brisket, same day.
Oh, good
Same
Lord.
day.
Oh, my God.
Haji's is lunch. Cat's is for dinner because after you just sit down, you have that full belly feeling off the brisket.
And then you run 10
Look
miles
at
the
the joy.
next
Look
morning.
at the joy. And it's important for the audience to know, like the sacrifices
It's not like
get
he
made.
stopped loving it.
Exactly.
He still loves you.
Yes.
Right,
It's
right,
important
right.
to know. Yo, listen.
Yo, if anyone follows The Rock shows his cheat meals.
Yeah.
Those fat French toast.
The French toast every Sunday.
the tequila shots.
It's
And you know what too? There's something I want to say. Like I'd like to be able to change the cheat meal thing to like if you work hard, if you're working
You're not
your
cheating,
ass
you're
off, that's not
celebrating.
cheat. Yeah, it's like it's kind of like a present, right? It's like a cake. Anytime it's your birthday, you eat a cake.
Listen, I ride 70
You know
miles
what I
and
mean?
come home and eat a pint of ice cream.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like
Absolutely.
like why not? Right? If you're making sure that every day when you wake up you have this approach, hey, I'm going to do better, I'm going to get better, I'm going to work out, I'm going to do this, do that, then why not treat yourself? It's not a punishment. Working out and all this stuff is not a punishment. It's like you're actually doing something better for yourself. So enjoy it. Enjoy the cake and the ice cream and
I've been
stuff.
busting my ass for no reason last night. I still had some birthday cake in the fridge.
Oh, you did?
It was like 11 o'clock.
Oh,
I went in
no.
on a piece of red velvet for no reason.
But you get that option when you're doing the random bike rides for 50 miles. Who cares?
Yeah, man.
You know, that's the beauty of it all.
Listen, Khalil Rountree, we celebrate you. We
Junior.
We're
salute
proud
you.
of you.
Very
Yeah,
proud
man.
of you,
Keep
man.
going,
Thanks,
man.
guys.
Give it
Hell
up
yeah.
one time.
Thank
Y'all
you.
follow him. Follow him.